Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Logan. Welcome back to the channel. And today we are going to be talking about how the hobby is not dead. There's still so much sales volume going on in the community right now, and that we really don't have much to worry about when it comes to the crash because the sales volume is keeping up. And I got data to kind of prove my points right now. So let's kind of get started with it. We got Scarlet and Violet base set. We're going to go over some popular items and products from the last handful of years. So the Scarlet and Violet base set goes out of rotation in April. The lowest listed right now is 215. Reputable sellers 222. But look at this sales volume. You know, you had the Cyber Monday weekend, the 10% off non-member or non-pro member, and then the 15% off if you were. Look at the sales volume though, guys. High sales volume in the past 3 months. 25, or it was 16, and then 25 booster boxes sold in this little handful of days right here for the Scarlet and Violet base set. So what all this is kind of telling me is, I'll explain that at the end, I guess. But Paradox Rift next up. I know it doesn't look that crazy, but you know, you had the buyout right here. 87 booster boxes sold when it shot up dramatically. Went all the way from like 256 to 320s. That's a crazy jump. But yeah, there's kind of that buyout right there. But then if you look at every other one, it's single digits, single digits, single digits. You got 12 right there. And then it goes all the way from 16 to 31. So other than the buyout and the run-up that Paradox Rift had, the last couple of days has had the highest sales volume by a wide margin, even for Paradox Rift, which is a good set. Nothing too crazy, but... next up, we got Journey Together. This is the enhanced booster box right here, which the enhanced and the non-enhanced really doesn't make sense to me. If they're around the same price, why not get the free promo that's already $20, an extra value for the Journey Together? I know they probably had more of them, but why not get the free $20 promo while you're at it? So if you look at the sales volume, the highest it's been the past 3 months for Journey Together, it was creeping like single digits for a good probably month or so. Then it got up to 17 and 24 the past for this Cyber weekend for the 10 to 15% off. So like I said, it's the sales volume is there, guys. I think we're getting close to the point where everybody kind of feels comfortable buying at, because if you take 10% to 50% off of this, you're probably 185, 190 area per booster box, which is still $25, $30 above MSRP. So I mean, it's still above MSRP. So even with the added discount, so like I said, you really have nothing to worry about, guys. Right now, we're far away from a crash. Next up, we got Twilight Masquerade, almost back up to $300 a box, because it dropped down to what, 266. And now we're back up to $300 because look at the sales volume. It was single digits. Basically, you got 12 and 13. So for what, is it 3-day increments? Yeah, for the 3-day increments, you only had 2 that were in the double digits, maybe 3. No, that's 8. And then you got 32 and 15. So, like I said, with the sales volume, with these added discounts, it's still here. The demand is still here. People are just finally kind of getting comfortable with buying it at that discounted price. But when people buy at these discounted price, sometimes it shoots the price right back up because now the supply has shrank a lot more than in previous months. Next up, Destiny Rivals, another one that has proven the fact that with these sales volumes, it's going to shoot that price right back up, because we were trading like in the it's 370, but I think there was some as like the 360s. And this one's obviously always going to sell pretty good. But even leading up to it, 12, 14, 18, 13, 18, 107, and 73. Okay, so the sales volume spikes up for that 10 to 15% discount. And now lowest listed is probably, those are just packs. That's not a reputable seller. Let's get a reputable seller. Is basically 405 after shipping for the Destiny Rivals booster box. So it's jumped up $30, $35 within the past handful of days, just because that sales volume drained the supply a little bit. Price spiked back up. Another case for this one, Surging Sparks. This one was in the 225, 230 range for the long. I mean, what was that? 219 even, and it was selling pretty good, honestly. Good amount of sales at this price because everybody was like, "Hey, this is kind of underrated." And then you add on that 10 to 15% discount, 78 booster boxes, 30 booster boxes sold. But you see that spike right there, 78 booster boxes sold in a weekend, and now it's kind of driven that price right back up. Which I was saying Surging Sparks was mad underrated for a very long time. 255 lowest listed reputable seller. I'm not saying it could go back down. We're kind of doing the sales volume and what is the effect of the sales volume with this Cyber weekend. Next up, how they evolved. This one had a pretty big drop, pretty drastic one. Got all the way down to 367. But look at the sales volume right here, guys. It was single digits basically the whole 3 months. You had 34 right here while it was running up. Then basically single digits all. Then you got 13, 15. 15 is the highest. And then you go all the way to the Cyber weekend, 57 and 15. So you got boom, big 57, just triples the highest in the past 3 months. Like I said, I think people are starting to get comfortable that we're almost to the bottom. People realize that this may not happen because you get the next Cyber sale is in a year. It's like, ooh, am I gonna wait a whole nother year? Am I gonna wait for the next TCG player discount? Which they might do one for Christmas, not 100% sure, but people were like, okay, I'm gonna jump in now for a lot of these products. Next up, Prismatic, the SPC. Obviously, I can't do everything, guys. I'd be sitting here for hours if I tried to do everything. So I'm trying to do like popular items. SPCs, UPCs always age very well. Look at the sales volume. 42 was the highest the past 3 months, and then it was high. It was like in the teens, kind of in single digits. There's a 30 right there. It's pretty good. But then you go to Cyber Weekend, 63 and 36. So again, double, triple the sales volume the past 3 months basically for the Prismatic SPC. I'm going to keep saying the same thing. It's kind of like people are getting comfortable with buying at that 10 to 15% discounted price. That is kind of where the bottom's at, and they don't see it going much lower, or they're not going to wait for it to go much lower than that. But Prismatic ETBs, the highest was 166, and that's when they were about $111. So then you go all the way is 154. Two 154s back to back. That's kind of crazy. But that just goes to show that at this cheaper price, what was it, 112 basically, and now they were sitting at 122 with that 10 to 50% discount. They're give or take a couple dollars right around the general area that people are comfortable buying in. Next up, 151 Booster Bundle, which is, man, these things took off. There's the highest sales volume right here was 312 sold. It jumped over $100, $105 basically. Then it kind of dropped, and now we're going back to sales volume 172, 120 sold in the past weekend, which is obviously it's not touching that 312, but other than that 312 is blowing everything else out of the water by 2 to 3x pretty easily. This one was crazy. The 151 Elite Trainer Box. Look at this, guys. With single digits, you had 20 right here, which was at $400. That's crazy. But you had single digits every day of the week, and then Cyber Weekend hits 40. 40 sell. So you get the 10%, 15% discount at $357. It's a pretty hefty discount for 151 ETB. And yeah, 40 sold in this past weekend. That was actually a really good pickup. Next up, Brilliant Stars. Again, single digits every day of the week. Even when it was dropping, still single digits. Cyber Weekend hits 32 and 13. So it basically 6-7x'd, if not more, in the sales volume in this past weekend for the Brilliant Stars booster box. Next up, Lost Origin. Check this one out, guys. So 20, the highest in the past 3 months was 20 at 808. Other than that, it was single digits, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then you got 26 and 23. So it was 1, 2, 3, sometimes none being sold in a weekend. And now you hit 26 and 23 this past weekend with that discount. And I still think, like I said, I wasn't saying that anything's underrated, but I think this is crazily underrated right now for Lost Origin. Next up, Chilling Reign. I don't know why my heart tugs at Chilling Reign for some odd reason. But again, look at this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Sometimes none. Sometimes it was none for multiple days, like 6, 7 days, a whole week almost. Didn't mean to do that. 4 was the highest in the past 3 months. And then you get to the Cyber Weekend, it jumped up to 11. But like I said, it was kind of a ghost town for Chilling Reign. And then you get to the Cyber Weekend, it jumps up to 11. So, like I said, nothing too drastic, but it is sales volume for Chilling Reign. Not a lot of people like it. I don't know. My heart is attached to it for some odd reason. Next up, Evolving Skies. So it matches the sales volume. It's 4. The high it was 4. But realistically, if you don't have pictures of the Evolving Skies booster boxes, I don't see very many people spending a couple grand. And like I said, this one just I don't see people spending a couple grand on things you don't have pictures of, which that's a good picture right there. But you know what I'm saying? I know it's only 4, but that's also like $9,000 basically. So Evolving Skies, even with that 10 to 50% discount, had the highest sales the past 3 months. Well, I guess ties. So next up, we got Celebrations, the ETB specifically. I said this was underrated for a long, long time. It was under the $200 mark for a little short period of time, and now it's back up to $244. But look at the sales volume. It was single digits basically. Then you had a 28 right here. You had a 20, 13, 16, jumped all the way up to 46 and 25. So in the past week, you had what? Oh my God, quick math. 71 sold in the past week, basically, for Celebrations ETB, when the highest was 28 and 20 in a 3-day period. Next up, Hidden Fates ETBs. Are there people starting to realize that these are pretty underrated? Because especially if the peak was 425 basically. They dropped all the way down to 396. And now if you're doing that discount, I mean, that's a pretty good buy right here. 11 sold in that Cyber Weekend for the Hidden Fates ETB. Hidden Fates is my favorite modern day set because when I was in the 2019-2020 period, it was Hidden Fates and Evolutions reprints out the yin yang, and it was such a good time to be alive. Last one I'm going to go over, it's going to be a little bit shorter video, guys. It's the Sea and Sky boxes for Crown Zenith. I think a lot of people slept on this set because there were so many other Crown Zenith boxes around. The highest sell volume was 30 back when they were trading at 176. But other than that, the Cyber Weekend, even at 207, had 24 sold in that Cyber Weekend. So that's pretty good sales volume right there. Like I say, guys, I can't just... People are going to say I'm nitpicking, but I can't just choose everything. Because the thing is, I just went over a handful of sealed products. Who knows what the singles are doing? I would have to sit here for days to try to get the read on what all the singles did, all the popular singles did in that Cyber Weekend. But the demand is still here. The popularity of Pokemon is still here, especially for the people that have been through the ups and downs in the past handful of years. They know the history usually repeats itself because people are like, everything's going to MSRP, which in the previous crash, everything was below MSRP. Everything was like, not everything, but there was booster boxes. Chilling Reign, Fusion Strike were $80, $85. MSRP back then was $144. So they were almost half of MSRP. That's when you know you're in a real crash, is when things are way below MSRP because the supply is way higher than the demand. And guys, like I said, if you're worried about a crash, I know there's card shows going on basically every weekend where I live, and I don't even live in a popular state. There was a North Texas show this past weekend. I had a buddy go there. He said it was so crazy. It was so busy, even on holidays. And there's the card shows here every week, and it's busy every week. Like the crash is not here, guys. It might level out because everything pumped up so drastically that it might drop off to level out, which is perfectly normal because there's always, not always, but history repeats itself. Pokemon has repeated itself over and over again. It has 30 years of history, basically, that there's always going to be another spike. Like after COVID, people were like, "Oh, Pokemon's dead. There's nothing here. No value." Even for Evolving Skies, that's when Evolving Skies was primed, and it was at the not the peak, but like Evolving Skies was in print, and everybody was like, "No value in Pokemon." And now look at Evolving Skies. Look at Fusion Strike. Look at Brilliant Stars, Chilling Reign, even the least like lower popular sets that weren't valuable at all during that time. And now next spike happens, and now they've gone up crazy amounts of percentages. So if you're worried about it, if you're worried about losing money, then this is probably not the investment space for you, because investments are usually taking 2 to 3 years for time to grow. And it's hard to keep flipping. That is a grind, and I personally don't have time for that grind. But if you do, if that's what you love to do, then shout out to you. Keep doing you. But I'm personally just kind of here for the long-term investments. And I mean, if something spikes up and you get a good flip quick and easy, then lucky you. But that's not normally how it happens. But like I said, I'm not worried about it dying. I'm kind of rambling right now. I appreciate all the love and support as always. You guys have a good day. Peace.